Clayton Mitchell.
Mr Chair, I rise on behalf of New Zealand First to take a call in the Committee of the Whole House stage for the Employment Standards Amendment Bill, talking about Part 1 specifically about the paid parental leave aspect. Look, I wasn't here last week when we discussed that we went to the second reading, but I did watch with great intent the speeches in the House that day and the solidarity that I thought that all parties had with regards to certain sections of this bill, namely Part 1 to do with that paid parental leave. And I don't think there's a single person in this House or around New Zealand that wouldn't like to see this go through the House. So New Zealand First does support Part 1 with the extension of 16 to 18 weeks for paid parental leave. And I think we'd also, around this country, like to see a change in the breakdown and the disconnect that has been slowly coming into families because of families being forced back to work early, because people needing to get themselves employed gainfully, obviously, and working to get some money in for their families. And we'd love to see them spend more time bonding and connecting with their family, which this bill does go towards doing. I don't think it goes quite far enough, but it's certainly a step in the right direction, and New Zealand First certainly supports that, sir. There are a number of things in Part 1 that I think are also very commendable, and despite there's a lot of support in what has been said already, I believe, and New Zealand First believes, that the Keeping in Touch hours is a fantastic methodology to enable career mums or dads or primary caregivers to ensure that they can fulfil their requirements in their roles, whether they be professional or otherwise. And it's not an onerous amount of time on a family. We're talking about 40 hours spread out over those 18 weeks period. And for those premature babies, those Keeping in Touch hours are unavailable after the 28 days, the first month of that baby being born. So this bill actually enables the connection between the mother, the primary caregiver, and the child, which is absolutely essential. Certainly, I just go back to, we need to be doing more to ensure that one income family is enough to sustain a family, so we don't have this disconnect and this breakdown through society, which is an endemic, is the start of a pandemic, if we don't address that issue, sir, but I digress. The second part, which I think is also very good, is the clarity and the discretion that's given around primary caregiver. And this, I think, has tidied up some areas that have been a little bit ambiguous, and allowing a parent, whether it be the birth mother or the father or a nominated person, to be the primary caregiver for that child. I think it just gives some freedom for some of the different families, different family nucleuses, if you like, that don't have the standard situation of what we would consider to be a normal family model. And so those primary care giving in here, and that clarity around that certainly does tidy that up and gives some determination around it. The introduction of the premature baby allowance, I think, is a great step in the right direction, acknowledging the fact that parents are under some stress when it comes to babies that come unexpectedly early, that some changes need to be made in their everyday lives to adjust for this baby that's popped down and said, hello, I'm ready. And so to enable payments and enable those parents to be given the preterm baby payments, as well as allowing them to spend some more time at home without that encroaching onto that 18-week paid parental leave, I think is a very, very good thing for this bill as well. The paid parental leave is great when it comes to including seasonal and casual workers. There is a need for casual work employment agreements, and we're going to get to that as we get into Part 2 and 3, and we've certainly got some supplementary order papers and some amendments to make put forward, and we hope that they get supported. We would hope that we can get this bill 100% supported by New Zealand First, and as it progresses through the Committee of the Whole House stage, we will certainly be having some discussions about that, sir. When I get to an area that I have some concerns with regards, Mr Chair. This is with regards to, Mr Chair.
Well, I'm trying to decide whether to give the member another call or not, so just wait. I will.
Thank you, Mr Chair. We're talking about section 34 on page 29, part 3A, when it comes to negotiated carer leave. And it's the final point that I'm going to make with regards to primary care leave and the negotiated carer leave when it comes to 30E, grounds for a refusal of a request by an employer, Mr Chair. And it sort of jumps out at me. It says here, an employer may refuse a request for negotiated carer leave only if the employer determines that the request cannot be accommodated on one or more of the grounds specified in subsection 2. And the list in subsection 2s are the inability to reorganise work among existing staff, the inability to recruit additional staff, detrimental impact on quality, detrimental impact on performance, planned structural changes, burden of additional costs, and the detrimental effect on ability to meet customer demand. I think that just about would cover every single excuse that an employer could give or not to allow the negotiated carer leave to take place. You've pretty much written a piece of legislation here. It has been put in front of us, and the employer has been given every single opportunity to say, I'm sorry, that leave is not going to be given. And I think that needs to be looked at, Mr Chair. I look forward to taking further calls as the Committee of the Whole House debate goes forward. I certainly, New Zealand First does support the paid parental leave aspects in Part 1. Thank you, Mr Chair.